Hello everyone, welcome back to Slow English Stories. I am Leo, your English teacher, and your guide for today's lesson. Today we are going to dive into a deeply moving and powerful story called Stop Comparing Yourself. This story is going to touch your soul, but it also contains a massive lesson that will change how you look at your life, your progress, and your English learning journey forever. Before we unlock this story, let's get into our study zone. Please turn off the television and close all the other open apps on your phone. Disconnect from any distractions around you. If it is possible, I highly recommend that you put on your headphones right now. Wearing your headphones is the absolute best way to experience this lesson because it blocks the noisy outside world, helps you focus perfectly on my pronunciation, and lets your mind travel completely into the world of our narrative. Are you ready to find out the secret? Take a deep breath and let's begin our journey. The cold wind roared violently through the dark, rocky canyon, carrying the sharp scent of wet soil and dying leaves. Leo stood on the edge of a massive broken stone bridge, staring down into a deep, endless abyss. His boots were covered in heavy mud, and his chest was heaving with exhaustion. His hands were shaking so hard that he dropped his ancient wooden compass onto the rocks with a sharp clack. Leo was completely overwhelmed by a bitter feeling of envy. The word envy means the unhappy, painful feeling of wanting to have what someone else has, such as their success, their talents, or their possessions. Let's look at a key grammar point in this opening scene. Leo stood on the edge of a bridge, staring down. We use the word staring, which is a verb with ing, to describe an action that is happening at the same time as the main verb, stood. It shows continuous focus in the past. For 3 long years, Leo had been walking on this dangerous mountain path, trying to reach the legendary Golden Citadel at the top. But every single time he looked across the canyon, he saw his childhood friend, Marcus. Marcus was walking on a beautiful, smooth, sunlit highway that ran parallel to Leo's dark path. Marcus was flying forward effortlessly, dressed in clean, expensive clothes, and smiling brightly. For 3 long years, Leo had been walking on this dangerous mountain path, trying to reach the legendary Golden Citadel at the top. But every single time he looked across the canyon, he saw his childhood friend, Marcus. Marcus was walking on a beautiful, smooth, sunlit highway that ran parallel to Leo's dark path. Marcus was flying forward effortlessly, dressed in clean, expensive clothes, and smiling brightly. Every step Marcus took seemed perfect. Leo looked at his own torn clothes, his bleeding feet, and his broken tools, and a dark cloud of despair filled his soul. The word despair means the complete loss of hope, a feeling that a terrible situation will never improve or get better. Let's study another vital grammar structure right here. Marcus was walking on a beautiful, smooth highway. This is the past continuous tense. We use were plus verb ing to describe an action that was in progress during a specific time in the past, creating a vivid picture of the background events in a story. Leo looked across the canyon one last time, filled with anger and sadness, and decided to do something incredibly dangerous. He stepped closer to the cliff and prepared to jump across the impossible gap to catch up to Marcus. What Leo did not know was that the highway across the canyon held a terrifying secret. Leo closed his eyes, his toes hanging over the cold edge of the cliff. The roaring wind screamed in his ears, and the terrifying depth below seemed to pull at his body. He was just about to throw his entire weight forward into the empty air when a heavy, warm hand suddenly grabbed his shoulder. Leo gasped and spun around. Standing behind him was an old man with a long, silver beard and deep, wise eyes that seemed to reflect the entire night sky. The old man looked at Leo's trembling legs and sighed softly. "If you jump toward another man's path, you will fall into the void," the old man whispered. His voice was filled with a powerful serenity. The word serenity means a state of being completely calm, peaceful, and untroubled by the chaos around you. Let's look at the grammar structure in this dramatic scene. If you jump toward another man's path, you will fall. This is a first conditional structure which we use to talk about a real and possible future result of an action. We use the simple present tense, jump, in the first part, and will plus verb will fall in the second part to warn someone about a dangerous consequence. Leo angrily shook the old man's hand off his shoulder. "You don't understand," Leo yelled, pointing his dirty finger across the wide canyon. "Look at Marcus. He started the journey at the exact same time as me. But his path is smooth, he is never tired, and he is already reaching the gates of the citadel. I am smarter than him, I work harder than him, but my path is full of mud, rocks, and endless suffering. It is not fair." A bitter tear rolled down Leo's cheek, mixing with the dirt on his skin. Leo was suffering from a deep psychological obsession. An obsession means an inability to stop thinking about something or someone, completely consuming your mind and destroying your peace. Let's study another vital grammar point used in Leo's angry speech. Marcus started at the exact same time as me. We use the structure the same plus, noun. Plus as when we want to compare two people or things and show that they are identical or equal in some way. The old man did not get angry at Leo's shouting. Instead, he reached into his long coat and pulled out a small, round piece of dark glass. He handed it to Leo and said, "Look through this glass, young traveler. Look at your friend Marcus again, but this time see the absolute truth." Leo snatched the dark glass, held it up to his right eye, and looked across the canyon. What he saw through that mysterious glass made his breath freeze inside his throat. Through the dark glass, the beautiful, sunlit highway completely vanished. Instead, Leo saw that Marcus was actually walking on a thin, fragile tightrope made of sharp glass thread. Marcus's feet were bleeding heavily, and his face was twisted in absolute terror. He was moving fast, not because he was strong, but because a massive, dark monster with razor-sharp teeth was chasing him right from behind. If Marcus slowed down for even 1 second, he would fall into the abyss. Marcus was not happy. He was trapped in an endless, running nightmare. Leo stood completely astounded. The word astounded means being so filled with great surprise and wonder that you are totally shocked. Let's look at the grammar structure of this shocking revelation. He was moving fast, not because he was strong, but because a monster was chasing him. This sentence uses a coordinating conjunction structure, not because, but because, which we use to correct a false assumption and explain the true, deep reason behind an action. The wise old man took the dark glass back and placed it gently inside his coat. Every human being is given a unique path to walk, the old man explained softly as the wind began to calm down. Marcus's path looks beautiful from the outside, but it is built for his specific destiny and his specific struggles. When you spend your days looking across the canyon, comparing your life to his, you stop looking at your own feet. You trip on your own rocks, and you lose your own balance. Your path has mud and heavy stones because it is training your muscles to become a king, not a runner. This profound lesson caused a massive shift in Leo's mind. It brought him complete enlightenment. The word enlightenment means the state of receiving deep spiritual knowledge or a clear understanding of the absolute truth about life. Let's study an essential grammar point from the old man's wisdom. When you spend your days looking across the canyon, you lose your balance. This is a zero-conditional structure. When, if plus, simple present, simple present. We use the zero conditional to state general truths, facts, or automatic habits that always happen as a direct result of an action. Leo looked down at his own muddy boots. Then he looked at the steep, rocky mountain path ahead of him. For the first time in 3 years, he did not feel angry or ashamed. He took a deep breath, feeling the crisp, clean mountain air fill his lungs, and he made a definitive choice. Leo looked away from the glass tightrope and turned his eyes completely back to his own rugged mountain path. He realized that his path was not his enemy. It was his teacher. He bent down, picked up his ancient wooden compass, and wiped the mud off its face. He stood tall, adjusted his heavy backpack, and took a firm, deliberate step forward onto a sharp rock. The moment his foot touched the stone, a strange thing happened. The rock didn't hurt his bleeding foot. Instead, a wave of warmth surged through his body, and his muscles felt instantly stronger. Leo was filled with an unbreakable resilience. The word resilience means the great capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, pain, or misfortune, showing toughness and strength. Let's look at a beautiful grammar structure in this moment of transformation. The moment his foot touched the stone, a wave of warmth surged through his body. This sentence uses a time clause, the moment, which acts like a soon as or when. We use it to show that a secondary action happens immediately after a primary action in the past, creating a fast, dramatic pace in the story. Step by step, Leo climbed higher into the mountain. He stopped looking across the canyon entirely. He focused on his own breathing, the placement of his own feet, and the beautiful set of pine trees that grew along his rocky trail. He began to enjoy his own journey. Whenever he faced a massive boulder or a deep patch of mud, he didn't complain or compare himself to Marcus. He simply smiled and said, "This is my rock to climb. This is my muscle to build." Months rolled by, and Leo's torn clothes became like armor, and his scarred hands became incredibly powerful. He was no longer a victim of his environment. He was completely autonomous. The word autonomous means having the complete freedom, power, and independence to govern your own actions and destiny without being controlled by outside forces. Let's study another important grammar point right here. Whenever he faced a massive boulder, he didn't complain. We use the word whenever to mean every time that, or at whatever time. In stories, it helps show a repeated past habit or a consistent change in a character's behavior. Finally, after many days of focused climbing, Leo reached the final crest of the mountain. He stepped out onto a wide, magnificent plateau, and there it was, the legendary Golden Citadel, glowing brilliantly under a majestic pink and orange sunset. The gates were wide open, waiting for him. Leo looked across the canyon one last time out of curiosity, but the smooth highway and the glass tightrope were completely gone. There was only a thick mist. He realized that the canyon had never been a real place. It was a test of his soul. Leo smiled, walked through the golden gates, and stepped into his true destiny. And that is the beautiful, powerful end of our story today. What a life-changing lesson for Leo and for all of us. When you spend your energy comparing your English journey or your life to someone else's, you lose your own balance and focus. Your path is uniquely yours. Your mistakes are your muscles. Stop looking across the canyon, focus on your own feet, and keep moving forward step by step. If this story inspired you to stop comparing yourself and start embracing your own journey, please smash that like button right now. Subscribe to Slow English Stories and turn on that notification bell so you never miss our deep storytelling lessons. Share this video with a friend who is feeling discouraged today. Now, I have a special challenge for you to practice your English right now. Leave a comment below this video entirely in English and tell me, what is one personal goal you are going to focus on this week without comparing yourself to anyone else? Don't worry about perfect grammar, just write from your heart. Keep practicing, keep climbing your own mountain, and never give up. I am Leo, and I will see you in our next story. Stay strong, everyone.